everybody. It's SunahBey Tha Messiah, and I'm here. Now, I know I don't go live like that consistently, but I'm gonna start and see what's popping with that. I'm definitely gonna see what's popping with that. I mean, I want to talk about the stuff that's going on in the world. Um, where can I start? It's just so much going on right now in this world. It's just so much. Let's talk about one thing. It seems as if the old school of people, they're sitting back and they're letting the new generation lead, and the new generation are big headed and they think that they got everything figured out, which they don't realize. Oh, that was the past. Oh, that's old, or that's back then. But they don't realize that if you don't have an understanding and if you're not at peace with the past, or you have no knowledge of the past, then you are subject to repeating the past. You know, it reminded me of that Glorilla video, Hold On, or Hold On, Hold, whatever. That song, where in the video she's driving a school bus, and I believe that music video was a representation of the different generations. She was driving the school bus, meaning she is the new generation. And then in one particular part, it was an old lady that decided to ride the bus. And when she got on, she looked around like, what's going on? Things a little different. And um, that might be symbolic of how people, that was raised in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s or so, how we look at this generation now. It also was symbolic because at another part of the music video with Glorilla, and if you go on my channel, I actually do break down that Glorilla video. Um, the older lady, Glorilla stops driving the bus, meaning she was in control of where the culture was headed. And then she stopped for a second and let the old lady drive. She's like, I don't know where we going. Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So, the old lady, yeah. All of that is to show you what's going on right now. Like, we think this music and especially these music videos, we think that they're just for entertainment, but there's also a message. And in that particular message with Glorilla, is basically about how the new generation is leading the older generation, where I'm a 90s baby, and I come from an era where it was the elders who was running things, because the elders already knew the how the road was going to be. They knew how difficult the road was going to be, and they were more prepared. This new generation, people don't want to work hard anymore. Some of the younger generation, they see working as primitive, a thing of the past. You know, yeah, I've been hearing a lot of stuff, especially when I'm on Facebook, on social media, and you go in the comment section and you have a different opinion about certain things. And the main excuse for condoning bullshit is, oh, this is a new time. This is a new age. This is a new time. This is a new age. Yeah. But you have things from the ancient and old times that are still standing today. So you can never forget about the old ways. You can never get rid of the old ways of doing things, especially if you don't know how it's going to work out. So yeah, I do see that, it's an attack on the culture, especially the black culture. It's definitely a big attack on our culture. It's to the point where, I don't know if y'all remember that movie. It was called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And basically, and then there's also one where, a version of it where Honey, I Shrunk the Adults. And basically the adults became super, super small. And like the younger people were running things. And that's how I feel about things now. Like, Now nobody wants to age. They got all type of aging creams out there. You can get your face stretched out so that you can look younger. Nobody, even you hear these older guys, they be like, "Oh, I seen a dude on the internet. He was in the comments talking about, "Oh, I'm an older man and I don't want no old ass woman like me. We both crusty. Oh, that's a problem." And I was just thinking to myself, well, that's not unfair to the young girl. This, you're admitting that you know that you old, dusty, and crusty, and you think that that is gonna be okay to these younger girls. Like, it just seemed to me he didn't want to admit that he's old. But I thought when it became to when it comes to becoming older, it's about wisdom. You should get to a place where you're not trying to impress everybody or whatever. You should be outside of yourself and you should be in living in truth. Because remember, when you think about yourself or whatever, you also have to think that we've all been programmed. We've all been programmed. Everybody in this generation, everybody in this world is programmed to be a certain way. Your culture is a program. Your religion is nothing but a program. The stuff you watch on TV it's all programmed. Your emotions are programs. Your thoughts are programmed. That's why they say that we think the same thoughts every day. So your thoughts are programs that are running. So every day we all thinking the same thing that we thought the day before. That's not how a program is work. Once it's installed, it keeps running subliminally, like how your brain is it works consciously and it works subconsciously. So yes, we've all been programmed. I've been programmed. Especially if you're in the U.S. I'm reading a book right now called Perversion of Normality, where things that used to be normal, acceptable, that's the word. Normal just means acceptable. Acceptable, accepted by everybody. And in the books, it talks about how these elite people strategically were studying human beings, and they were studying on how they can manipulate human behavior to where they can separate this generation from this way of thinking from this generation and breed a new group of people up that no longer have those old morals. They have a whole different mindset, a whole different, way of being and way of living than the whatever generation or tradition that they were trying to break from originally. And they wrote this book. I can actually get, let me see where mine, because I be liking to use my iPad when I be reading. It's about this new I got the A16 iPad. I gotta get me a case for it. But and I like looking at my Kindle on here because it's like literally the size of a book. You know what I was reading last night? I was reading a couple of books because my brain just, I be reading books at the same time. And matter of fact, a new book that I just downloaded was, and I do a lot of PDFs because I'm not paying for all these books, okay? Which I know one day that there's a possibility that there might be a cyber crash where maybe they might do a universal reboot of the information of what's on the internet, and it might seem like it's a blackout, but really they're doing something totally different. We might not have access to the internet and stuff like that. We got to think about that. Technology is not secure. It's definitely not set in stone. Okay, so it can still have errors, malfunction, be, especially if you get to the wrong hands. It can also be hacked, shut down, and controlled. So I gotta find a way to get these books because I have over 200 books in my Kindle library and like over like maybe close about 50 PDF downloads because I go that way because you can still find the book in its original form and you don't have to pay nothing. Fuck all that paying. So I need to find a way to do that or something, because none of these are physical books, and that is the difference. You know, ebooks are cool, but it's always good to have a copy just in case something happens to technology. Now, I know a lot of people are not worried about if technology is going to, you know, destroy us or if it's going to become an inconvenience, even though it already has in a way. So the newest book that I've got was the uncut book of shadows, which is like, you know, that goes into witchcraft and demonology or whatever, which is crazy. I got a book called Demonology, and I'm thinking this book is finna talk about some demons, and it's not. It's talking about how the woman was demonized and something being demonized. So, but that's a really, really good book. If women, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but women have our own separate history that has been hidden from us. And the best way to find the history of women is if you go into the esoteric, you know, witchcraft, and go back to the ancient times and what these women did. Because they're just wise women, you know. People get, you know, shook with that word witch. But, you know, there was a time where these women were very feared, and they were not, the system couldn't control them, so they had to get rid of them. Anybody that the system cannot successfully control and program and brainwash, then you become a threat to the system. But being like everybody else, that's not going to make you a threat to the system. Okay. So yeah, that's the book that I got. But yeah, the book that I was talking about was Pervasion of Normality. This is the book that I was talking about. Let me see, because I'm pretty sure I highlighted it. I was reading part of this last night. Yeah, this book talks about how they socially engineered people. Sooner or later, research animals would be replaced by humans, and scientists would become the social engineers of the human psyche. Yeah, so you see people going crazy and all this stuff, and they think that they got it figured out. They're all programmed. You know, that's why you got to make sure that you're reprogramming yourself, because you don't know who's in control over that program. Who gave you that program? Who conditioned you to identify with that program? You got to unbrainwash yourself, unfuck your mind. Because a lot of people's mind is fucked up. You got to unfuck your mind. And that is only your job. It's not your teacher's job. It's not your friend's job. It is your job. And if you are lucky enough to meet somebody that's going to help you along that way, that's good too. Pavlovian psychology is a style of research driven by interest. It is interested in developing effective evidence-based tools for manipulation and exploitation. Idly, society as a whole becomes structured as Palo's laboratory. Hmm. Behaviorism was pioneered in Russia by the psychologist. No, hold on. Let me see how you pronounce that word. Physiologist. My bad. Physiologist, Dr. Ivan Pavlov. Despite his misgivings about Bolshevism, Bolshevism, the American and French revolutionaries against the vestiges of the traditional Western social order and through it was against the traditional Western social order, and through the Industrial Revolution, the world expansive liberal democratic capitalism that is today called globalization. Wow, now that's I've never heard of this word. Bolshevism. Bolshevism. Now this is the American and French revolutions were against the traditional Western social order. And through the Industrial Revolution, Bolshevism and the world expansive liberal democratic that is today called global. So are they saying that this is globalization and under another name? Liberal democratic capitalism is the communist form of government adopted in Russia following the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. Did something else happen in 1917? The War Crime Enemies Act or something like that. I had to look that time up, but was that? I don't know. That date sounds so familiar. So basically, they want to do dictatorship. Okay, so yeah, behaviorism. When the Bolsheviks assumed control, Pavlov was treated as part of a privileged class. Pavlov sought to induce conditioned reflexes in dogs by a system of signals and rewards. Oh, wow. Okay, Zwart describes Pavlov's laboratory as a pathogenic environment, a totalitarian regime that cared for its animals but exploited their bodies as production factors. That is to say, it was a communist state in microcosm. Let me look up how to announce that word. How do I say that? Microcosm. Okay, I said it right. A community, place, or situation regarded as the encapsulating in miniature the characteristics, qualities, or features of something much larger. So a small piece of the pie. Anyways, despite the intentions of Pablo himself, his research was seen to reflect the philosophy and zeitgeist. I always want to know how you say this word. Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist. Namely, the 21st century creed. So, zeitgeist is the philosophy and zeitgeist of a particular political ideology and ideological universe, even namely communism is a 21st century creed. The condition reflects the condition reflect the programmed reflect a program you had to reflect provides a powerful tool for social engineering. Sooner or later, research animals will be replaced by humans. So first they were searching on animals, and they was gonna do the reward and research on the humans. And scientists will become the social engineers of the human psyche. Pavlovian psychology style research driven by interest. Interest developed effectively. Okay. As we see below, when discussing eugenics and population control, Trotsky described the creation of the new Soviet man by using Nazarsky's term Ubermensch. Let me see if they're going to define this word. Ubermensch. Ubermensch. Oh, Ubermensch, which is used by anyone else, which, if used by anyone else, would be greeted with wails about Nazism by today's intersectional, transsexual Trotskyites. Trotsky was also interested in applying Freudian psychoanalysis to Marxism, placing him along the same path as the critical theorists. In 1923, he wrote, arguing that whereas to artistic stance towards human experience, opted for experimental physiological approach so that his reflex doctrine might provide a substructure to despite its literally tendencies. Ooh, these words here. Similar ways social engineering and human resources management could be discerned in capitalism. So social engineering is a part of capitalism? Interesting. However, notably in the form of Taylorism, they got Fordism, Taylorism, behaviorism. Particularly interested in this word alludes to the analogous, let's see if that word is. Analogous character of the USSR and capitalistic USA, and the both aim to reconstruct humanity according to economic factors. And as seen above, in regard to the US, both use behaviorism as a method of social engineering. So there we go again, y'all. Like I said, we've all been socially engineered. It's a damn shame that people don't realize that your thoughts are not your own. Matter of fact, I wonder if I still got that book. I should have a book in here. I had a book, and I don't know if I paid for part one or part two, but it's called Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own. That's why it's good to read. You can definitely literally find everything. Your thoughts are not your own. Yeah, these are the two books that I had. That's a good, because I mean, if capitalism is basically socially engineering, because you got the ads that make you feel good, you got the ads that are listening to what you're saying. It's just so much. That definitely is social engineering, which is I'm gonna go ahead and get, okay. Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own. Volume 2 is marketing, movies, and music. So we're gonna borrow that book. And then there's another one, Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own, Mass Manipulation and Things Like That. Yeah, that's a good book too. All right, let's read this, see what they're talking about in this book. Oh, it took me right back to my page. How much do I gotta pay for this? 'Cause I want this book. I'm definitely finna buy this. I think these are two very important books to have. People don't read anymore. Reading is really a luxury. I get a high off of reading books. I love to read. I love to know. I like to be informed and intelligent and stuff like that. So I really love to read. If you're not reading, you're not I can't say too much about that, but you need to be reading. Read something now. Dang, I was on. Damn, hold up. Let me see how many, because I know that this don't have 5,000 pages. Let's see how many pages this book actually has. Yeah, this book has 5,657 pages. Damn, that's more pages than my other book. It's another book that I'm reading. The other book is perversion, my bad, of normality. This book is only a 100. This book is only 1,682 pages long, and I'm only on page 47. So yeah, but yeah, I love to read. I should be reading every day, but sometimes I don't get a hold of that. Reading and meditation every day and exercise every day are the three keys to happiness, especially if you're a woman. I like this right here. Healing frequencies. Oh, I might want to read that. Um, all right, let's go to my library. Um, but yeah, that was the book, the perversion of normality. That's a really good book. That's the book that I'm still reading. I've been had that book for months. Then last night I was reading a David Icke book. I love David Icke videos and movies. I mean, not movies, but David Icke books and his videos. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch his video today. Um, I was reading about the reptilians because he be having some good insights on that. I really need to start getting into this other book. It's called The Artificial Intelligence and Dangers to Humanity. I really need to get into that. And then the other one I have is the AI Trump China and the weaponization of robotics with 5G. That's another good book that I have not started reading. Um and the geo engineering transhumanism, how the environment has been weaponized by chemicals, magnetism, and nanotechnology for synthetic biology. Mm. What page am I on this? How many pages does this have? I just love how big this is. Like this book is this iPad is dope. I love it. I love it. Oh, it's only 900. It's 934 pages in this. Wow. The terrain is everything. The germ is nothing. What does terrain mean? Terrain. That's what I like about this one. The dictionary could sound the word out for you so you can know exactly what it is and what it means. Terrain is a stretch of land with regards to the physical features that are both terrain. Okay. I thought I was deeper in this book. So this goes into this. The fact that yeah. I've already been reading this. That's why I understand. Like, why is it acting like these are the only pages that I've been reading? Okay, I probably, yeah, I'm literally into introduction. Okay, so I think that's what I might start doing. Do my read-alongs and stuff. You know, try to spend some time on here. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna come back tonight and I'm gonna have a book figured out where I'm gonna read from. And we're gonna start that reading a rainbow. You niggas really need to start reading. You gotta read the rainbow, but you need to read a book. Okay? Anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure that you like my video. Make sure you subscribe and watch my YouTube videos. There is another YouTube video that will be coming out this weekend. I think we're going to get into the, let me see. I always said I wanted to make a video about the dangers of Christianity and what it has actually done to us and how Christianity is a form of religious social engineering. I think that'd be interesting. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is SunahBey Tha Messiah. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful